getting some market opinion now. We have Swati Kulkarni, the Executive Vice President and Fund Manager at UTI IMF, joining in for that. Swati, hi, good to see you in today. You join us on what has been quite a difficult week for the markets as well as a difficult day. What have you made in terms of what might be plaguing the markets in the past couple of trading sessions? And do you think that the FII outflows are possibly going to increase going forward?
Clearly, the weak earnings season and the worries about the monsoon is what is hitting the market in the near term. While it is tough to take a call on the outflows from FII, I think it's better to look at the relative fundamentals. And from that perspective, I believe that India still stands ahead of most of the emerging markets and most of the developed markets as well, as far as the long-term potential is concerned. So it's really very difficult to take a call, especially when Fed action is due somewhere in September, that what will actually happen as far as the FII outflows is concerned. What we are hearing from the market is the long-only fund are definitely looking at certain pockets wherever the valuations have turned little bit acceptable. And still the asset allocation is yet to happen as far as the ETF allocation is concerned.
All right, Ms. Kulkarni, we'll take that view coming in from you, but the Nifty has moved to the low point of the day. So let's get in Jagdish Malkani as well, the member of BSE as well as NSE, who joins us currently. Hi, Jagdish. Not a great morning of trade. Nifty moving to the low point of the day. 8,000 going to hold out yet again.
Well, who's to say? Yeah, definitely markets got no legs, and yesterday, with the benefit of hindsight, it seems like a reaction to the MSCI rejig not happening for now. But clearly, these are all dead cat bounces. But so far, let's say this 8,000 on the low and 8,500 on the high seem to be holding, but difficult to say. I'm sure it will make another strong attempt at breaking through 8,000.
Okay. Jagdish, what's happening with the PSU banks? There is that meeting which is lined up with the finance minister. We're getting more details that, bank recapitalization might be extended for FY16 or might be under consideration, something that the RBI has proposed to the finance minister as well. What do you think is plaguing the PSU banks?
Well, no prizes for guessing. They're awash with bad loans, and Mr. Rajan is not in the mood for any sympathetic treatment, and clearly some of the old fudges are disappearing on restructured loans, etc. And clearly the government is very clear that only the banks that will emerge cleaner will get new money from the government. So that way there's a separation of the men from the boys. But overall the pack is troubled, no doubt about it.
And that's right, Jagdish, but at present the men and the boys, both of them are getting clobbered. If you just look at it, pull up some of these stocks, you pull up something like an OBC, you look at Allahabad Bank, just take a look at those stocks that fall off the cliff. They're just taking a sharp knock in the last few minutes. So Karnataka Bank as well has joined that list. Take a look at all the stocks, pull up all those three banks that I spotted. But let's get in Ms. Kulkarni as well. Ms. Kulkarni, the bank Nifty is not doing well, but we have seen IT as well as pharma. They have been that defensive sector that normally money rushes to. Would you find that attractive at these levels?
So for IT particularly, the growth rates have come off, but there is a digitization which is going to drive the business growth as such, and also in terms of if you assume that sometime once the Fed starts tightening, the dollar might remain strong, and hence you could benefit of the currency depreciation, and these sectors, probably IT and pharma, they will tend to benefit out of that. And in terms of pharmaceuticals, especially the ones who are targeting the US generics market, I think the pipeline is something which attracts investors, and reasonable valuations considering the pipeline would actually suggest that we could look at the US defensive. Of course, there is a risk of the 4-3s which are hovering for most of the pharmaceutical companies. Hopefully these will get addressed and they don't convert into import alert as such, and hence that is looking attractive. both IT and pharma from a, I would say, defensive perspective in these volatile markets.
Okay. Swati, how important is any sort of news on the minimum support price or the MSP from a market perspective?
I guess, see, if you look at from an inflation perspective, we have, for CPI, we have a favorable base till maybe September, October. So we will first see CPI coming down from the current levels. And MSP will not be too much of an, impact as far as the food prices are concerned. I think the more impact could be from the monsoon-related worries which are talked about of the possibility of a below normal monsoon. But in terms of, the impact on the rural demand as such, I guess some bit of slowdown is already witnessed in the discretionary side of consumption. It's still the staples is not yet impacted as far as the rural demand is concerned. So I think MSP is now being taken more from a, having a fiscal correction point of view rather than that affecting the ultimate corporate earnings as such. So I would like to wait and see what the impact could be on the inflation. I think it won't be immediate. The immediate impact on the expectations on the inflation could be more from the monsoon, not so much from the MSP as such.
Okay, well, we seem to be closing in on close to a 100-point cut for the Nifty. 8032 is currently where we're at. So it will be important to see whether we manage to test or support that 8,000 mark at this point in time. And if you just look at it, it's just a handful of Nifty stocks which are gaining at this point. BPCL, which is up around 1%, and HUL seeing some amount of buying from the defensive space, but hardly any sort of gains. Even Sun Pharma off the day's high, just about a gain of around 0.3%. So we are precariously poised at this point in time, but let's see whether we manage to defend 8,000. Jagdish, if we slip below 8,000, what would be the next level to watch out for? Because the low for the year is at 7,997, so that's possibly going to be breached quite easily if we slip below 8,000.
I don't know. You need Mr. What's that? Parsi gentleman with a crystal ball. I have no idea. I would imagine 7,900 thereabouts. I still would stick my neck out and say this is a sideways move in a longer term bull market. But so who's to say these points, etc. But yeah, I think it would be a strong resistance point, 8,000, and it does look like it's going to happen maybe today.
All right, Jagdish, so then looking at the 8,000 mark, for the time being till we move to that mark, I think you'll stay totally away from the mid-cap space? Jagdish?
Okay.
I think that line has got snapped there as well. But, Ekta, just one quick point. The Nifty has moved to the low point of the day. Just pull up the India VIX. Normally you see that when the Nifty moves to the low point of the day, we're down more than 90 points, I think, the last time I checked. But the India VIX is up only around 1.3%. We saw this even in Wednesday's, even in Tuesday's trading session. When the Nifty moved to the low point of the day, I think we were down some 50-60 points. But the India VIX didn't spike up, telling you there could be some put writing as well. That's just one of the many indicators, but that as well should be in focus. We should have been up 5-6% on the India VIX. That's not really happened at this point of time.
Okay, well, that's the update on the India VIX. Swati, just one quick last question to you. Then I'll take what Nigel was asking Jagdish and pose it to you. That would you be really wary of the mid-cap index, or are there any select stocks that you would look at this point?
I think in select stocks, definitely the valuations have turned attractive, something which we, we're finding it very difficult to look at which has corrected about 20 to 25%, and the mid-caps where we have certain competitive advantages and growth is very visible. I think we are looking at this. So there is a selective approach, but having said that, clearly at the indices level, mid-caps have moved to a premium as far as the valuations are concerned versus the large-cap indices. So I would avoid saying that in general mid-caps have become attractive, because the corrections are similar in the large-caps also. Like you have many large-cap auto names which have corrected maybe about 10-15%, and across the boards, of course, banks have corrected about 10%. So we have attractive, large caps also. So I would take a selective approach as far as the mid caps is concerned, and not an overboard at this point of time.
All right, then not a bad idea to get in a quick derivative check as well, because the cash market volumes haven't been great. We've been highlighting that over the last few days. So Siddarth Bhamre joins us currently. Siddarth, what's your reading of this? I think we were anticipating one more leg down, given that we have been seeing a lot of put buying, in fact, in the last couple of days. What's your sense? Where are we heading?
Good morning, Nigel. As you rightly pointed out, there's a lot of put buying happening, especially by stronger hands like FIs. In fact, yesterday also we saw somewhere around 1,000 crores of index option buying, with most of the build-up seen in 7,800 put option. Now, we all have been, talking about how low open interest June series has started with.
Correct.
This clearly suggests that there will be a huge volatility in our market in this month till the time open interest doesn't increase. And there is a lot of disinterest among FIs. If you're seeing they are continuously selling in cash market, but index option activity is not at all happening despite so much of volatility. Now, this is not a sign where you would see a huge bounce or change in trend. Right now, the trend is down. We are moving technically also, if I add, we are moving in lower top, lower bottom formation. And I think support of 8,000 is just a matter of time and it may give way. I'm not saying that this is a bear market and you will see huge corrections, but this is a sell-on rise market where you are not seeing new tops being formed.
All right. Siddarth, we were just talking about that big put buying figure that we've been seeing over the last few days. 7,800 you said was fairly active. Is there only protection buying, or do you think that the stronger hands believe we're going to that level?
It is quite possible we are going to that level, and maybe probably below those levels also, though not very substantially. At the same time, one should buy protection or not. I'm not saying it's too late, but you should have bought protection around 8,400, 8,500 levels. Now also, if you want to buy protection, buy at the money options. IVs are still low. Looking at the current context, the way market has been volatile and the kind of put buying is happening, 17 and a half IV is low. I'm expecting if, there is some sort of panic selling, if at all, if it happens, IV can further shoot up.
Correct.
And you are still in, first half of June series. So remainder part of June series, you can buy some protection, but buy at the money option and not 7,800.
Okay, so that quick last question then. For the Bank Nifty, it's sub 17,500. What's the next key level to watch for?
Level to what I won't say support, but I will say resistance of 18,100 is now in place. And now if we breach the support level of 17,200, 17,300, then probably we are staring for substantial downside. It is quite likely we will first visit that support and breach it too. So I'm not